So, a very good morning to all my CA intermediate students who are writing their exam in that January 25 attempt. Now, ICA has gone ahead and released the RTP, which is applicable for a January 25 exam. So, I thought let me quickly go ahead and discuss the RTP. So, I'm over here for a quick discussion relating to the RTP, which is applicable for your January 25 exam. I hope all of you are doing amazing, revising properly. If you are not done with your revision on the channel, the Interca revisions are already uploaded. Please go through them. Trust me, you will see that 90% or 99%, if I go ahead and say, of your revision is already done. If you go ahead and revise with that revisionary, let's go ahead and quickly down discuss the RTP which is there applicable for your January 25 attempt. Everyone over here, trust me, it's a very good RTP which has come up. It will really help you a lot. You must solve the RTP. I will suggest that when you see this video, before you go ahead and watch the complete video, download the RTP from the ICI material, try yourself. See, it's always good that you try yourself, make mistakes, and then you come back and see wherever you are having a doubt. So if you have any doubt anywhere, that portion you can go ahead and see so that you can save time. Right, everyone? So before going ahead and seeing the complete RTP, I'll suggest that first you go ahead and try the RTP yourself and then go ahead and see this video. Right. Let's go ahead and quickly get it started and quickly finish, everyone. Chalo, let's go ahead and do it. Now, it says section B mein I am there, taxation mein GST. GST mein all the questions should be answered on the basis of the position of the GST law amended up to 30th June, because till 30th June all the amendments are applicable for your January 25 attempt. Okay? It says the GST rate mentioned in various questions are hypothetical and may not necessarily be the actual rates. Okay, fine, no problem. And they are telling GST compensation says wherever you see, please ignore it. Okay. Now, the first thing first, case study scenario which is there. Okay. Now, whenever we go ahead and see a case study, I always tell the student the approach to be applied whenever you are going ahead and solving a case study, you should not read the case study first. Why, sir? Because see, first you will go ahead and read the case study, then again you will read the question, then you will read the question, and again you will come back and read the case study to find the answer. Better is always, whenever you are solving case studies, to first go ahead and read the question which is there. It says, see, the question says, which of the following statement is correct under the GST law in relation to the registration requirement of VCPL? So basically they are talking about the registration requirement in relation to its operation to be commenced in Gujarat. So basically if I go ahead and see this, they are going ahead and telling VCPL is someone, and whether they are required to take registration in the state of Gujarat or not, you have to go ahead and comment. Now before you, now you know already, okay, so if he is there in one state and his turnover would have already crossed, then if he is going and doing business from other state may also he has to take registration. So let's go ahead and read the question and now try to find out the answer. What happens now, if you read the case study once, you'll waste time. You'll waste time reading the case study unnecessarily. Then you'll read the question and start finding the answer again. Rather, first read the question and now start searching for the answer. Okay, they are talking about whether VCPL, the company who is there, are they required to take registration requirement in the state of Gujarat? Okay, sir. Chalo, let's read the question. It says, Vintage Cinemas Private Limited is a leading chain of multiplex operating in several states. So, okay, VCPL is operating in various states. Basically, it's a multiplex theater which is there. Okay? The company has its corporate office in Maharashtra. So, their company is located in Maharashtra. Okay? And is registered in GST in multiple states, including Maharashtra. So it is already registered under GST registered. Okay. The company offers movie ticket, food and beverages. So it gives what, everyone? It supplies movie tickets which are there. It supplies food and beverages. It provides other entertainment related services also. Okay, sir. Then the turnover of the company in the preceding year. People, you go ahead and tell me one thing. First of all, when you are going ahead and supplying movie ticket, means you are into supplying of cinematographic films ka basically exhibition of cinematographic film, which is a service. Food and beverages you are going ahead and supplying over here, and also you are supplying other entertainment related services. ठीक है, तो if I go ahead and tell you movie ticket is a service, food and beverages, now over here we'll go ahead and consider they are talking about the restaurant service which is which is provided in a movie theater. So again it's a service, and again entertainment, it's a service over here. So basically a supplier of service from Maharashtra. Now you tell me one thing, what is the turnover limit applicable? 20 lakh rupees is the limit applicable. ठीक है, चलो then now the company is providing finance, the company in the preceding financial year, as per the audited financial, the turnover was how much, everyone? 175 crore. Arey baba, 175 crore is the turnover, sir. Where 20 lakh? If the company ka turnover is already more than registration limit. ठीक है, then they are saying the company crossed the aggregate turnover of 35 crore till June in the current year. Anyway, it does not matter. 35 crore, 175 crore means the company is already a registered person. If you are already registered in one state, and now from other state also, if you are starting to do business, Baba, it says in July, VCPL opens a new multiplex in Gujarat, wherein the company will operate from 1st August. Now you tell me one thing, everyone. Sir, in the if your turnover, aggregate turnover, you have to see VCPL ka aggregate turnover is already more than registration limit, and hence if you are going to do business from other state also, you have to take registration there also, because your aggregate turnover is already more than registration limit. And hence if you see over here, it says VCPL, my answer is done. I will not read the remaining case study. Again I'll read the next question, again I'll come back and read the case study. ठीक है, now चलो, तो इन माई ओपिनियन दे शुड टेक रजिस्ट्रेशन. ठीक है, VCPL इज नॉट रिक्वायर्ड टू टेक रजिस्ट्रेशन. टोटल बकवास सर. VCPL is required to take registration in Gujarat while commencing business in Gujarat, as its turnover has already exceeded 20 lakh. Yes sir, supplier of service, 20 lakh is the limit, and its turnover has already exceeded, and hence it will be required to take registration. But always remember one thing, whenever you are doing case study MCQ, read all the other answers also. It says VCPL is allowed to add Gujarat multiplex as additional place of business under registration in Maharashtra. Baba, if you are registered in Maharashtra, you can add additional place of business only in Maharashtra. In other state, you can't add. Total bakwas. Then VCPL is required to take GST registration only from next financial year, subject to the condition that the total bakwas. Sir, if your turnover is already more than registration limit, you are required to take registration in the current year only, and hence B is the answer. ठीक है, if I go ahead and show you over here, sir, please show the answer. If you see the answers over here, MCQ में first one B is the answer. ठीक है sir, चलो next move to the next one. Then which of the following statement is true in relation to filing of return? Tell me one thing, if you are registered in 3 states, you are required to file GST returns in all the 3 states. Chalo, let's read what they are telling. They are telling VCPL is required to file single consolidated GST return for all the state. Total bakwas. VCPL is required to file separate GST return for each state where it is registered. Yes sir, this is correct. If they are registered in different state, compliances under GST separate state mein you have to go ahead and file your, because separate registrations are there in every state. You have to go ahead and comply in every state. You will have to file the return, and hence B is the answer here. Chalo, we'll read the C and D also. Don't leave the other options ever. ठीक है, VCPL is required to file return only for the Maharashtra state where its corporate. Total bakwas. It has to, wherever you have taken registration, there you have to file the return. VCPL has an option to file return in the state with the highest turnover. Total bakwas sir, irrespective of the turnover, even if your turnover is nil, then also you are required to file return, and hence answer should be B. Over here answer should be B. ठीक है sir, चलो let's move to that. See, without even reading the case study I answered. How sir? Because when you talk about returns का requirement के लिए, you don't need any case study. You need the answers to be read properly. You will be able to answer. ठीक है sir. Next, let's read the next one. VCPL is required to levy GST on rental charges. This के लिए I think I have to read the question. It's talking of something about rental charges. ठीक है. It says due to its operation in multiple states, the finance and accounts operations are handled by a centralized team. So basically, Maharashtra में one centralized team is there, the main corporate office which is there, and they are taking care of all the operations in all the states. ठीक है sir. The team is also responsible for filing return for all the registration. But when the team is filing the return for separate state, it has to file separate return. Okay, sir. Then the company is also engaged in leasing of space to independent vendor. They are giving. So, for an example, cinema hall is there. Their space, they will go ahead and give it on lease. That, sir, you want, you can put up your stall. So we give space on lease also in its food court against rental for the purpose of increasing the source of revenue. Oh, so it has rental income. You tell me one thing. Activity. Section number 71A. Is it an activity? Yes, sir. Is it for a consideration? Yes, sir. Is it in the, it's not your business to rent out space, but it is in the course of your business. And hence, sir, rental charges are subject to GST because it's in the course of your business. It is following the definition of supply, and hence, sir, VCPL is required to levy GST on rental charges only if turnover of the tenant exceeds total bakwas. My turnover is required. Tenant, if is registered, not registered, for me it does not matter. My turnover is to be seen when I have to see whether to charge GST or not. Only if the turnover of a turnover of a tenant total bakwas, I will go ahead and only if the total rental charges collected in the hand of VCPL. No, sir, my turnover is already exceeded 20 lakh, and hence when I am going ahead, when I have gone ahead and given a place on rent, sir, for movie tickets also I am charging GST, for giving space on rent also, irrespective of the turnover of the tenant or the amount of rental charges collected in the hand of VCPL, sir, VCPL is required to levy GST, because for all other movie tickets, etc., you are already registered, you are charging GST. Rental, if you are going ahead and giving, for that also you have to go ahead and charge GST, and hence the answer will be D over here. If you see, answer will be D. Okay, next. The next one, in respect of refundable security deposit, people, refundable security deposit, I would like to go ahead and remind you one place that, sir, when I was teaching you, wait, let me open my chart book once. You should be able to understand with the help of the chart book. ठीक है, 1 minute. If I show you value of supply का chapter, here only I had gone ahead and written, sir, refundable deposits do not constitute consideration, hence do not include in value of supply. Always remember, refundable deposits are never consideration and you should not include in value of supply. Okay, sir? So here what is the question going ahead and telling you? The question is going ahead and telling, in respect of refundable deposit, GST is payable on the deposit. No. GST, so basically what they have gone ahead and done is, in respect of refundable deposit given by BCPL, what they have done, so this is supposingly the landlord of the place. This is VCPL. VCPL has given security deposit. Now, whenever they take premises, and the security deposit will be given back. So there is no service which is given. Security deposit goes and security deposit comes back when you leave the premises. So there is no service. There is no quid pro quo. There is no service which is given against security deposit. And hence, security deposit with GST will never come. Okay? Security GST is payable on the deposit. No. Neither by the owner nor by BCPL. Okay? There is no requirement to pay GST. Yes, correct. This is correct over here. GST is payable, total bakwas. Sir, answer will be C over here. You see? Answer will be C. Chalo. Okay, the next one, everyone. VCPL is dash for the advertisement material sent from Mumbai office to Gujarat office in relation to upcoming movie. So basically from the Maharashtra office, Mumbai office, they are sending some material to the Gujarat office. People, separate registration, they are both distinct person. If it is distinct person, section number 71C, sir, anything if you are sending from here to here, it will be a supply between distinct person. I hope you guys remember this. In the chart book, I'll show you section number 71C. Yes, sir, it is a supply. If it is a supply, it's a supply between whom? Distinct person, section number 71C. And if it's a supply, you will be required to raise a tax invoice. Okay, sir? Chalo, next. So, it's telling over here the company obtained a new office in Mumbai under rental agreement and paid amount of 5 crore rupees for refundable deposit. The terms of the agreement is 5 years. Refundable deposits are never consideration, never taxable. The company also dispatched advertisement material worth 35 lakh from the Mumbai to Gujarat multiplex for the upcoming movie by way of transport through the road. the company claimed ITC on such advertisement material at the time of receipt in Maharashtra. ठीक है. Now what they are going ahead and telling, when the company would have bought that material, it would have taken the ITC. Now it is going ahead and selling it. So people, it's a supply between distinct person and you are required to raise a tax invoice. Let's read everyone. It says you are not liable to issue any document, total bakwas. You are liable to issue delivery challan. Delivery challan is when it is not a supply. Here it is a supply. You are required to issue bill of supply. No, sir. It's a taxable material because bill of supply is required only when you are supplying exempt supply. Now here it's a taxable material and you are liable to generate tax invoice as well as when it is going on the way, e-way bill. And hence the answer should be D over here. What is the answer telling? Answer is telling D. I hope everyone is 100% clear with this. Done, sir. So people, here we're done with the case study MCQ. I will tell you one thing about case study MCQ. If you want to solve case study MCQ, you should do all the chapter first of all properly. Means your complete revision should be done properly. Sir, how to revise? Go to my YouTube channel. In that marathon part 1, part 2, part 3. Part 1 is already there. Part 2 and part 3 will come very soon. And completely amended and updated amendments are there. It will help you a lot in going ahead and revising. Revise it properly, then solve MCQs and big question. Trust me, you'll have absolutely no problem because everything has been covered in detail in the amendment itself, in the revisionary itself. Chalo. Now let's move to the big question. One thing which I've gone ahead and seen with the students always go ahead and tell me, sir, how to crack that big compulsory question which comes in the exam. I'll tell you. Out of the 16 chapters which are there, 50% of the chapters students don't do properly and go for the exam. If you don't do your question answers if you don't cover all your chapters properly, trust me, exams have become so critical nowadays. In the exam they can ask anything from anywhere and hence you must go ahead and cover each and every chapter properly. Right, sir? I will go ahead and do it. If you cover each and every chapter properly, trust me, you will be able to crack the big question very easily. Chalo, I'll go ahead and show it to you. Everyone over here. Messers, so people, whenever you read the big question, I will always suggest that first go ahead and read down what is the requirement of the question. This you should read and then you should start cracking the big question which is there. Okay? People, how to crack the big question which is there in the exam. First thing first, you should always remember this. Everyone over here, listen. First thing you should always remember is you should have completely revised your entire GST. You should know each and every chapter, every corner properly. If you don't know each and every chapter properly, big question cracking is very difficult. Exemption chapter, all small chapter, Baba, you will have to learn all the chapter properly. Conceptually you should be strong, then you'll be able to solve it. Okay, sir. First thing first, you should do that. Secondly, now when you start solving, first pick up the question. When you pick up the big question, no, you see what is the question asking you over here. The question is telling you are required to compute the following for the month of October. Okay, okay. Total value of supply. Okay, sir. So what you should do, no? I will keep my chart book on the side so that whenever we need, we can use it. See, they are telling you should compute the total value of supply. What is the question telling? The question says compute the total value of supply. Okay. So I can write over here, first of all, computation of total value of supply. Always remember, whatever the question is asking you to address, you must go ahead and take care of those things. If the question is asking you total value of supply, you must give the examiner the total value of supply. Okay, sir. Then they are telling output tax payable by the company. Okay, so I can write over here computation of total value of supply and output tax payable. So you can write over here completely, you write, and output tax payable by company. ठीक है sir. So here you will write particulars, value of supply, and you can write over here IGST, CGST, and you can write SGST. ठीक है? Done, sir. Now next. Then it says net GST payable. For net GST payable, you will need input tax credit. But you should never write your input tax credit over here, because you should always write what is the question asking, that you should write in the first part. See, the question is asking computation of total tax value of supply and total tax payable. So you write over here, sir, total value of supply and the GST which is payable, I am calculating separately. Done, sir. Okay. Now, so this will be the particular, this will be value, this will be the GST which will come, and here will be the total. Okay, sir. Done. Then the question is going ahead and asking you, sir, compute the net GST payable in cash. ठीक है, तो net GST payable के लिए computation of net GST payable in cash. ठीक है, तो for computation of net GST payable in cash, I always need what, everyone? I will need my output tax liability. ठीक है, I will need my input tax credit, and then I have to go ahead and set off, and then I will get the output tax liability which is payable in cash. I will get, and also you have to remember one thing, your RCM liability also you have to pay in cash, and hence you will get net GST payable in cash, like this. Done, sir. Sir, from where will the output come? The output will come from here. ठीक है, sir, from where will the input come? Because in the question they have not told you to calculate input tax credit. Input tax credit should be your working note number 1, and you should write it down here. Working note number 1, computation of ITC. ठीक है, so whenever you are going ahead and reading the question, you should be able to read properly. Right, everyone? So you should be able to compute the ITC properly. For that, means whenever you are reading the question, whatever points come, see, what are we preparing ourselves for? We are preparing ourselves for starting to read the question. Now, to start reading the question, first, the question is telling you out of the question what you have to find out. ठीक है, the question is telling you out of the question you have to find out total value of supply. So I made my place ready that I will write my value of supply over here. ठीक है, sir. Then the question is going ahead and telling you calculate the output tax. So I have gone ahead and made my space over here that I am going to calculate my output tax over here. The question is telling me compute the net GST payable. So I have made my space over here that then the net GST payable in cash will come by output minus input. Then so output tax liability minus input, whatever output tax liability is payable in cash will come here. RCM liability payable in cash I will write over here. Net GST payable will come. But because this was not asked in the question, so I have to calculate it as a working note. Computation of input tax credit, IGST, CGST and SGST. Done, sir. Always write I first, C then and S then. ठीक है. Always in the question you should always search if there is any opening balance. This is one critical thing. Please be careful. You should always search for the opening balance. ठीक है. Now, whenever you are going ahead and reading, next, then it says rate of GST is given 9% and 9% and 18% IGST. ठीक है. All the amount given are exclusive of tax. ठीक है, sir. Then there is no opening balance of input. Oh, no opening balance. No tension, sir. No opening balance. ठीक है. Then the turnover was 10 crore in the preceding financial year. The 10 crore is the turnover. It means the company is already registered because the turnover the last year is only 10 crore. All the transactions are inter unless otherwise specified. If they have specifically told, then okay. Otherwise, all the transactions you will always have only IGST. Done, sir. ठीक है. चलो, let's go ahead and calculate. If the question says otherwise, if the question is telling anything, okay. Otherwise, it is always IGST. Done, sir. Just imagine students don't even read this properly in the exam. The first mistake you do. Please always remember, make your format ready. That, sir, what is the question asking? Is my format ready? Now, nothing. I will read the question, place everything here and story over. Let's see. See. Now, I'll start reading the question from the beginning. It says, Messrs. Consult Services Private Limited. Consult Ease Services Private Limited, a company registered under GST in Maharashtra, Mumbai. So, it is company registered in Mumbai. Offers business consultancy, digital marketing, project management services across India. The company provides the following transaction in October. ठीक है सर. Number one, the company का transaction is given. One by one you have to analyze the transaction, and now you have to start saying whether by this transaction I will get output or I will get input. Either it will be your output liability or it will be the input tax rate. That's all, everyone. Let's start reading one by one. Consultancy services for market analysis. Consultancy services provided. So provided means it's not taken, it's given. Given means it will be your output tax liability. It will come in your output tax liability. Okay? Provides consultancy services for market analysis to XYZ, a registered client in Tamil Nadu. Intra or inter? Inter. 4,50,000. Sir, can you tell me how much is the value of supply? Sir, number one, consultancy service which is given is 4,50,000 rupees. Done, sir. You write down this one. Okay? And rate of GST is 18%. So, sir, on this, the rate of GST will come. So, sir, value of supply has come. So, what you can do is, you can directly go ahead and calculate over here, saying, sir, now that CGST and SGST is not there, I will go ahead and rub it out. Okay? And I will make this over here. Actually, if you don't rub it out also, no problem. You can write over here, okay, sir, GST is like this, 4,50,000 into 18%, 81,000. Okay, sir. So, and you can write over here 4.5 lakh into 18%. That's all. No problem. Okay, sir. Done. Next. Additionally, the company paid an amount of 4,500 as professional tax applicable in the state of Maharashtra as per the requirement of local legislation. The amount of professional tax was recovered from the client. Okay. So, sir, this is the wrong then. Sir, you have done wrong over here. What is the mistake? See. Remember one thing. It is telling 4,50,000. So, first of all, you do one thing. You write over here working note number 1. And you do this whole calculation after this table. You write over here notes and you do this calculation over here only. Okay? But I will do down over here working note number 1. Done, sir. Working note number 1. First of all, computation of value of supply. You have to compute the value of supply. In this question, first of all, they have gone ahead and told that, sir, consultancy services ke liye, the company has gone ahead and charged 4,50,000. Okay, sir. Plus professional tax. People, I hope you guys remember, any taxes other than GST, if you have gone ahead and recovered from your client separately, that should be included in your value. And hence, you can see over here, I'll show you. Any duties, any taxes, you have gone ahead and charged your client professional tax. And hence, do one thing. Professional tax, please add over here. How much is the amount, everyone? It is 4,500. So, please add 4,500. So, sir, 4,50,000 plus 4,500, 4,54,500. Okay, sir. Done. This is the value of supply. And sir, on this 18% GST over here, because it's an interstate supply, on this 18% GST will give me 81,810. Okay. So I will write these two amount over here, 454500, 454500, and GST is 81,810. Okay, IGST will come over here. That's all. And I've written working note that I've done all the calculation in working note. Okay, then I'll move to the second point over here. Let's read. Second one. And now from the first one, what was the learning? The learning was that I can't read half question and solve it. You have to read the full paragraph and solve, because first I wrote 4,50,000, then you will cut it. So don't do all those things. Don't do that mistake. What is the learning out of the first one? And these learnings will come. These learnings will come only if you start doing the question answers at home and then go for the exam. Okay, sir. So 4,50,000 plus 4,500, I did it and then multiplied by 18%. And now you can see over here, sir, the same way. Okay, chalo. Now, next, sir, digital marketing services for launch of event. Conducted means you gave the service. Digital marketing for upcoming launch for Mr. A based in Rajasthan, who is unregistered person. You have given to unregistered person, but are you registered? Yes. So you should charge GST. Done. The agreed fees for the service is 3 lakh. Out of the agreed fees, an amount of 25,000 is incurred by Mr. A. So I gave the service to Mr. A, and Mr. A, the company was liable to pay the same in relation to supply. So supposingly I am the company over here and this is Mr. A over here. तो मिस्टर ए को आई गेव ए सर्विस फॉर विच मिस्टर ए हैड टू गिव मी हाउ मच 3 लाख रुपीज, बट the net payment was only 2,75,000 because what Mr. A did, no, Mr. A paid 25,000 to, see, the company was liable to pay the out of the agreed fees, an amount of 25,000 is incurred by Mr. A. So Mr. A paid someone 25,000 on behalf of the company. So this is the company over here. On behalf of the company, 25,000 was paid by Mr. A. My question over here, my service to Mr. A, what is the value? Sir, I hope you guys remember, again, value of supply chapter over here. Any obligation of the supplier made by the recipient, it should be added to the value. I gave the supply, you gave me 2,75,000 plus 25,000 you paid on my behalf. My value of supply will be 3 lakh rupees, and hence over here I will write the second one. Product related the service which was given. What is the question over here? Digital marketing. Okay. Digital marketing services. Sir, it is 3 lakh rupees. Here you should write working note number 2, and you should say the value of supply will include 25,000, which is as any obligation of the supplier made by the recipient, and hence the value of supply will be 3 lakh. Done, sir. And then on 3 lakh rupees, sir, all the transactions anyways exclusive of taxes. So, sir, 3 lakh rupees, 18% is 54,000, and hence you write down over here, okay, sir, the amount will be 54,000, and you, if you want, you can write down the calculation also over here, 3 lakh into 18%. No problem at all. Done, sir. Next. Working note, why I am telling is every point you should write your note and come. Okay, sir. Let's move to the third one. Then, traveling payment for the team. Okay. The employees incurred means your company ka employees have gone ahead and incurred some expense. It means it is input service for your company. Okay. An amount of 50,000 on travel to Kolkata for client. Baba, it is not travel vacation. It is for client project, and claims a reimbursement of 50,000 as policy of the company. Such expense are charged from the client on actual basis. 1 minute. What happened over here? Sir, we went ahead and charged it to the client. For an example, I had to charge my client 3 lakh rupees. Along with 3 lakh, I charged my client 50,000 rupees more. So people, I hope you guys go ahead and remember this point, that sir, if you go ahead and charge anything to your client. So see, if you read the question till here, then it was an input service. But then they went ahead and told what? As a policy, the company charge the expense on actual basis to the client. So when I charge it to the client, supposedly I'm charging the client 3 lakh plus I'm charging 50,000, it will be included as incidental expenses in my value of supply. My value ke liye I charge 3 lakh. I also charge 50,000. So sir, 3 lakh plus 50,000, and hence I should write down over here that sir, additional amount which is charged from the client. What is the point over here? They have told traveling amount, traveling expense charged to client. And you can write down your note here also, or you can write working note. You can write over here, not working note. You can write note number 3 over here. You do one thing. You use only one word. You use note number 1. Notes you write note number 2. Here you write note number 3, and you write, sir, down you write that sir, this was an incidental charge which was being charged to the client. That's all. Okay, sir. So I will go ahead and write over here. How much is the amount? 50,000. So sir, 50,000 rupees will come in my value of supply. On 50,000, the GST rate is 18%. Because everything is interstate, so the GST will come over here. And you can write over here 50,000 into 18%. Done, sir. Okay. Next. Then they are going ahead and telling discount passed on to the customer. Post supply discount was offered to the customer. Amount. Okay. People, tell me one thing. Did we understand the first one, second one, third one? See, they have written down the note here. If you want, you can write the note in the table also. You can write the notes in the below also. I hope everyone is clear. We have gone ahead and written down the note over here. You can write down the note below also. Is my point clear to all? Now, everyone over here. The next one. Discount passed on to the customer. Post supply discount was offered to the customer amounting to 50,000 against a supply for which invoice was issued in September. We are in October. Invoice was already issued in September. That time discount was not given. Now the discount is given. Now the discount is given. It means everyone, your value of supply should come down. Your value of supply should come down post supply discount. But post supply discount may, I hope you guys remember, early condition should be satisfied. Only then the discount will be excluded from your value of supply. Correct? Your value of supply will come down. Number one, agreement should be there. We will assume that the agreement was there. Discount can be linked to the invoice. For the discount, credit note should be issued. Have they told anything about it? The customer has not reversed the ITC relating to such discount. Sir, that discount can be excluded. Attributable ITC has been reversed by the recipient on the basis of credit note. Only if your buyer has reversed the credit, then your value of supply will come down. And hence, here, because your buyer has not reversed the credit, I will assume first two conditions are satisfied. The third condition is not satisfied, and hence, sir, discount will not be excluded. So, do I have to do anything? No, you don't have to do anything over here. Fourth one, discount. Please don't do anything. Why, sir? Because if buyer would have reversed the credit, then the value will come down. Then I would have gone ahead and reduced it from my value. But in this scenario, the customer has not gone ahead. The customer has not gone ahead and basically my customer who was there, he has not reversed the credit. If it does not reverse the credit, I will not have to reduce it from my value. Okay, sir, done. This point is clear. Next, recovery of late fee charged. The company received an amount of 1 lakh as late fee charges for delay in the payment for consideration from a client whose service contract was completed in June. Oh, June I already gave the service. Now he did not make the payment, so I charged him. I charge him late fee. Late fee pay, sir. I hope you guys remember, any interest, any late fee, etc. if you charge to your client, you have to go ahead and include in your value. And hence, if I go ahead and tell you over here, I will go ahead and say fifth one, late fee. Okay, late fee is how much, sir? 1 lakh rupees. Done. And 1 lakh rupees per, sir, I have to go ahead and pay GST also. Now here comes the question, sir, have you gone ahead and charged the client separately? See, this late fee, interest, penalty and late fee, you can either assume it to be inclusive of GST or you can assume it to be exclusive of GST. In this question, what they have gone ahead and assumed, we have to see. Otherwise, you can just assume however you want. Sir, generally for interest, they assume that the interest is inclusive of GST. Late fee and penalty, you can charge GST on that directly, saying, sir, late fee assumed to be exclusive of GST. Have they told anything about it? No, they have not told anything about it. What they have gone ahead and done, they have taken, see, the late fee recovered are includable in the GST and liable at the time of receipt. And here you can write, assume not inclusive of GST. Or for if it was interest is always assumed to be inclusive. I hope you guys understand, and you remove the GST and then add it to the value, correct? So, sir, this amount I'll go ahead and add, and on this GST rate is how much? 1 lakh into 18%, 18,000 rupees will come over here, and hence, what is the total value of supply? First, what is the total value of supply? 454500 plus 3 lakh rupees plus 50,000 rupees plus 1 lakh rupees, and hence 904500. You can see the answer also, 904500. You know what they did? First, they found out the value of supply, and on that directly they calculated 18%. This method is also fine enough. Okay, sir, you can go ahead and do it by this method. See, if in the question they have not gone ahead and told you CGST and SGST, etc., you can ignore these things to be done. And what you can go ahead and do is directly, instead of going ahead and calculating one by one, what you can also do is, see this, the way I did, you can do it that way also in the exam. Or directly, because they have told 18% IGST only, interstate only, directly on this you can calculate 18%. So, sir, IGST will come 18%. How much? On this 18%, same thing what we calculated, 162,810. Done, sir. So, sir, my output tax liability has come. IGST, which is 162,810. Done. ठीक है, sir. Now what will we do? Here, output tax liability has come. ठीक है. Now they are telling purchase a car purchased in the name of the company. Purchase means input used by the director. The total cost of the car is 10 lakh 50 inclusive of GST of 1 lakh 50. Always remember one thing, car के लिए you will never get the credit and hence you can write over here input tax credit में car. Sir, car ka no credit. You can write over here the credit on the car is blocked. You can write it as a note also, saying note number 4, the ITC on the car is blocked. ठीक है sir, you have to write a note. Then next. Then they are telling insurance service. The company paid insurance of the above new car of 25,000, which is includes GST amounting to 2,300. I hope you guys remember that, sir, car pay credit is blocked. Block credit may we had gone ahead and learned. Sir, when the car pay credit is blocked, car ka servicing, insurance and repair and maintenance also credit is blocked, and hence here also you will not get the credit. Insurance, car also no credit, insurance also no credit. ठीक है sir. Then next, procurement of service. The company receives interstate supply of service used for business purpose. Interstate purchase of service on which GST paid is 45. Said credit was not restricted and hence you will get services ka ITC which is 45,000 and here this. ठीक है sir. Then the last one. This is one of the important point which I want you guys to take care. Listen. Sponsorship service. I hope you guys remember in your RCM ka chapter. I'll open RCM ka chapter. That sir, whenever any person gives sponsorship service to body corporate or partnership firm, body corporate or partnership firm should pay the GST under RCM. And hence in this scenario, the company sponsored a sporting event where it paid an amount of 2 lakh. So I as a company, I paid 2 lakh rupees. It means on 2 lakh rupees, the company should pay GST under RCM. Now always remember RCM ka two effects are there. Okay, sir, what are the two effects of RCM? 2 lakh rupees sponsorship service, RCM में you have to pay GST. First you have to pay. RCM में you will pay on, you can write over here, sponsorship service 2 lakh rupees into 18%. Sir, it means 36,000 I will pay the GST. When you pay the GST, first you pay in cash and then you get the credit also. And hence the total IGST credit which will come is 45,000 plus 36,000. People remember again RCM first pay in cash also, so add it to the net GST payable. ठीक है, and also RCM का you will get the credit. So sir, 81,000 is your input tax credit. So you can write over here total ITC is 81. Done sir. Now let's read the question more. Nothing else over here. ठीक है. Now what happened over here? चलो. Input is 81,000. So right, output is there. 81,000. IGST should be first used to pay IGST. So I can use my 81,000 to pay 1,62,000. So 1,62,810 minus 81,000. It will give me 81,810 plus RCM to be paid in cash plus 36,000. My total liability to be paid in cash is 11,7810. That's it. See here everyone. Array, where did it go? See, ITC is okay. This is a working note anyways. Computation of ITC. Here, 11,7810. But, this you guys already got it. See, in the exam, one thing I want you guys to be very careful about. First, read the question. If the question is asking output, first calculate the. If they are asking value of supply, calculate value of supply. Then calculate the output tax liability. Okay, sir. Then they are telling net GST payable. Net GST payable में output minus input will give you output tax liability payable in cash. Along with that, you should always add the RCM liability. I hope this point was clear to all of you. Now, I want you guys to practice this question again. Write all the notes again. Yourself, you write it. Now you do one thing. I have shown you in rough how to do it. You understood? Now, you read the whole answer which is given by the ICI. You read all the notes. that what is the ICI telling? Okay, I should write like this, I should write like this, I should write. Instead of writing the notes here, you can also write it as below. Note number 1, note number 2, note number 3, and give the reference up. That is also okay. But in the exam, if you don't write, see every point they have written notes. If you don't write notes and come, if you don't write notes and come, you will not get marks in the exam. Remember that point, everyone. Done, sir. See, note, 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 notes. These all notes can come down or it can be a part of the table also. Done, sir. Chalo, I hope I was able to make you understand. In the exam, always remember, whenever you're cracking a big question, first is if the question is asking you net GST payable in cash, you do one thing. You write simply computation of net GST payable in cash. Okay, sir. Then output tax liability, input tax credit, and here you will get output tax liability payable in cash. Okay, sir. Then you write over here ITC payable in cash. Okay, sir. And then you will have net GST payable in cash. Okay. For most of the question, you will have this format. You write over here working note number 1. Sir, computation of output tax liability. Okay, sir. Then IGST, CGST, SGST. Then you will have computation of input tax credit, IGST, CGST, and SGST. This is working note number 2. So you write over here working note number 2. Now start reading the question. One by one you will be able to post everything in output. You will get total output. Then you post all the inputs related detail. You will get total input. RCM first write over here payable in cash, and then you take the credit also. Don't forget to do this. That's all. And always remember, when they are asking you net GST payable in cash in question as the question, you should always write that on the top. Don't start your answer by writing computation of output first, then computation of input, then output minus input. No. I hope this point is clear. Practice more question. You will be able to get more clarity on this. Now, let's go ahead and read the next one. Mr. Bholaram, a supplier located in Meerut, UP, supplied bedsheet, pillow cover, goods basically to governmental agency. People, supplying of goods, one person supplied to governmental agency. Oh ho ho, our Modi ji wala example, Baba Modi ji wala chart. 1 minute, you see over here. TDS mein, I hope you guys remember. Yes sir, we remember in the chart book. You are gone ahead and told whenever any person will supply and supply ka value is more than 2.5 lakh to government mein governmental agency was there, then TDS has to be deducted. Governmental agency will deduct 1% CGST and 1% SGST. In the given question, they are going ahead and telling here. Registered in UP under a contract. So, sir, under a contract you are supplying, contract value is 4,61,000. I have already told you the value is more than 2.5 lakh excluding GST, and hence TDS will be required to be deducted. Okay, bifurcation is total bakwas. They are just trying to confuse you over here. Is governmental agency required to deduct TDS while making the payment? Yes, sir, it is required. Determine if yes, what will be the amount of TDS deducted, sir. TDS will not be deducted on GST. This is excluding GST. So 4,61,000 into 1%, 4610. Okay, sir. So 4610 is CGST amount, 4610 is SGST amount. Because you are in UP and you are supplying to government agency in UP, you in your bill, what will you charge, CGST and SGST? So I will go ahead and tell you. See, you are going ahead and supplying to governmental agency. Okay. And your value of supply is 4.61 lakh, 4,61,000. 1 minute, like this I'll write over here. 4,61,000. On this 1% C, because you are in UP and government department is also in UP, on this bill you would have charged CGST, SGST. So on the value, the TDS also will be CGST and 1% SGST. So sir, 46100 000 into 1%, 4610 CGST and SGST. If you see the answer over here, see First, they have written the law. I've always told you, whenever you are writing an answer, supposing this question would have come for 3 marks, first you have to write the law that whenever you are supplying to government department, local authority, governmental agency or notified category, you will be required to deduct TDS if the value of supply is more than 2.5 lakh. And sir, always remember, TDS is always when the value is more than 2.5 lakh, and this much you have to go ahead and write, excluding GST. On the GST, you should not deduct. Okay? Now, you should write in the given case what is happening. In the given case, law we wrote, observation. In the given case, Bolaram is a supplier in UP. He has supplied to government department in UP, and the value of supply is more than 2,50,000, and hence TDS is required to be deducted. And your conclusion that, sir, LOC, law, observation and conclusion. Conclusion is, sir, 4,61,000 into 1% CGST and 1% SGST, which will be 4,610 each CGST and SGST. That's all is the question. There is nothing other than that in the question. Extremely easy question. Entirely it is from the chart book. If you would have read the chart book, you would have understood that, sir, if you are in the same state, CGST and SGST, and sir, for whom the TDS is required, these are the 4 people for whom TDS is required to be deducted, and only when the value is more than 2.5 lakh. I hope easily you were able to answer this question. Let's go ahead, everyone. Next. Blue Panda is a manufacturing company that supplied goods of various to various registered dealer. The company has an aggregate turnover of 6 crore in the preceding financial year 2024. तो कंपनी का लास्ट ईयर का टर्नओवर, दिस ईयर विच इज द ईयर गोइंग ऑन, सर दिस करंट ईयर इज 24-25 गोइंग ऑन. ठीक है, 24-25 इज गोइंग ऑन. दे आर टेलिंग 23-24 में कंपनी का टर्नओवर वाज 6 करोड़. ठीक है. The finance team of the company is not sure whether e-invoicing provisions are applicable. Chalo, please come to your chart. On the chart, you have to come to your tax invoice. 1 minute. I'll open the tax invoice, wala, please. Yes. Tax invoice may we had gone ahead and revised over here that, sir, whenever one person ka turnover is more than 5 crore in the preceding financial year, any financial year from 17-18, then he is required to go ahead and deduct TDS. And sir, in this scenario, registered person, whenever you are supplying B2B supply and your turnover is more than 5 crore, first of all, registered person, any last financial year may 17-18 say, any year may, if your turnover is more than 5 crore, you will be required to deduct, you will be required to do e-invoicing. Okay, sir. So in this question, the finance team is not sure whether e-invoicing provision are applicable. Sir, I am the finance team. I will tell e-invoicing is required. Is of the view that e-invoicing invoices needs to be generated, and finance team is telling invoices needs to be generated directly on the invoicing portal instead of ERP. It means instead of your accounting software, directly you have to generate invoice on the portal. No. Sir, you have to generate an invoice and you have to register your invoice on the e-invoice portal, and the portal will give you IRN number. That's all. Sir, we normally make an invoice, then we feed all the details of the invoice on the e-invoice ka portal. That is called the invoice registration portal. And then the portal will give me IRN number. That's all is e-invoicing ka process. It's a compliance. I have to register my invoice. ठीक है. You are required to advise the finance team on the following. ठीक है. Whether what is the invoicing? Nothing. Invoicing is a compliance requirement wherein whatever invoice you have gone ahead and generated, if your turnover in the last year, preceding financial year, any preceding financial year from 17-18 is more than 5 crore rupees, then for your invoice, you have to go ahead and register your invoice. For your B2B invoices, you have to register those invoice on the invoice portal, and portal will give you IRN number. That's all is invoicing. Whether it will apply to Blue Panda? Yes, because their turnover in the last year is more than 5 crore rupees. Their turnover is already 6 crore. Okay. Does Blue Panda needs to create its invoice directly on the invoice portal? No. You need to make an invoice on your software only. Then that invoice ka detail has to be uploaded on the portal. That is the e-invoicing 1gst.gov.in. Those are called invoice registration portal, and the portal will give you IRN number. This is only to be done. You're not required to go ahead and create your invoice on the portal. No, Baba, no. Done, everyone. That's all has been told. See, it is telling what is the invoicing process. It is basically reporting your B2B invoices on the GST portal when your turnover exceeds 5 crore. Law. Now the answer. See, always remember, this question would have come for 2 marks and 2 marks. So you will write over here. First you wrote the law and then you write your conclusion. Since B2B has an aggregate, Blue Panda has an aggregate turnover of 6 crore, it is required to issue invoicing with respect to B2B supply. Then, sir, are you required to directly generate your invoice on the invoice portal? No. No. First answer should be no. Blue Panda does not need to generate the invoice directly on the invoice portal. The company will continue to generate in its own accounting software, ERP software, whichever is your system, you generate in that only. The only requirement is that these invoices must be reported to the invoice registration portal for validation and issuance of unique invoice reference number. That when you go ahead and put this invoice in the e-invoice portal, that is called the invoice registration portal, e-invoice1gst.gov.in, e-invoice2gst.gov.in. when you put over there, the portal will give you invoice reference number. That is the process of e-invoicing. Done, sir. Next, everyone over here now. The next is examine the place of supply in the following independent case. When we do place of supply, let's quickly open the chart of place of supply so that we can quickly go ahead and cover from here. Okay. Now, the place of supply of insurance services provided to a person other than a registered person be the location of the, okay, sorry, I'm reading the question, I'm reading the answer. Okay. Messr Santi, unregistered supplier of Gujarat, unregistered, went to meet her parents at the native place, Patna, Bihar, and buys a medical insurance for her parents from an insurance company. People, simple, it is nothing. You just have to remember place of supply. It says insurance services, whenever one insurance company will give to registered person, it is location of registered person. If it is given to unregistered, address on record. That's all. So in this case, the insurance company is selling the insurance services to whom? To Miss Shanti. Miss Shanti, an unregistered person, went to meet her parents in the native Bihar and buys a medical insurance policy for her parents from an insurance company, M&T of Patna, registered in Patna. So M&T is the company which will sell the insurance company to Mrs. Santi. Mrs. Santi is an unregistered person. When you are selling to unregistered person, the address on record should be taken as place of supply. So what is the location of the recipient in the address of M&T insurers? So basically in my books, your address is Patna, Bihar. So can you tell me, everyone, I am not given to registered person, I am given to an unregistered person, and hence the place of supply will be Patna, Bihar. What if in the same question, Miss Santi was a registered person? If she was a registered person and registered in Gujarat, the place of supply would have become Gujarat. In this case, Miss Shanti is unregistered and hence the place of supply will be, first write the law, then write the conclusion, because it's a 2-mark question. First always write the law that, sir, whenever insurance services are given to a person who is other than registered person, it will be location of recipient on the record. That is the address on record of the supplier ka books mein what is the address of the recipient, and the address over here is Patna and hence place of supply is Patna. Next, Lakhan Singh Transports Private Limited, a GTA of Noida, UP. Noida ka GTA is there, and he is going ahead, is hired by Ram Trade Links, registered in New Delhi. He is giving services to whom? Ram Trade Links, which is in New Delhi. ठीक है, Ram Trade Links is already a registered person. Okay, then to transport its consignment from its warehouse in Delhi to house of a buyer in UP. So basically, GT of UP is being hired by Ram, and Ram is in New Delhi, and Ram told from here you have to take the goods to UP. Always remember, whenever it is goods transportation service, in the chart book it's already given. If transportation service is given by a GTA to a registered person, the place of supply is always the location of the registered person. In this case, the place of supply will be, because he is giving services to a registered person, the place of supply will be the location of the registered person, which is New Delhi. First write the law and then write the conclusion. Write the law and then you write the conclusion that in the given case, the person is registered and hence the place of supply will be New Delhi. I am giving the service to you. Your address will become the place of supply. The next one. Mr. Karan takes a postpaid mobile connection in Mumbai for the services from the service provider Freesia. See, Freesia goes ahead and gives postpaid connection to Mr. Karan. Mr. Karan is in Mumbai. ठीक है. Gives his residential address as Mumbai as the address for billing with the company. Always remember, in case of telecommunication service, whenever I am giving telecommunication service, Free CI is giving telecommunication service, which is postpaid mobile services, then sir, always take place of supply as the billing address. In the given case, the billing address is which one, everyone? Free CI is giving services to Karan, and Karan has given his billing address as Mumbai ka address, and hence place of supply will be Mumbai. First you write the law and then you write the conclusion. Write the law little, that sir, whenever mobile connection is given through postpaid mobile, then sir, place of supply is always the billing address. In the given case, the billing address is Mumbai. Done, sir. The next one over here. The next is last one. List the accounts and records not required to be maintained by person who has opted for composition scheme as per the provision. In the revision, I had gone ahead and specifically told about it. If you see my revision for accounts and record, you will be able to see that, sir. 1 minute, I'll open the accounts and records ka chapter. I had already gone ahead and told you. See, last time when I was revising, I told in the exam this is important. This is important. Both of them came from the chart book only. Both of them came in the exam. Okay. One more thing I had gone ahead and told, which is asked in the RTP of this attempt, and this can also come in the exam. I had gone ahead and told what accounts are not required to be maintained by composition dealer. Number one, here, which is basically stock related details are not required, and second, tax related details are not required to maintain by composition dealer except composition. I hope you guys remember. Go watch the revisionary. I'd gone ahead and told over there. And this same question is there in the RTP, which says list the records and which are not required to be maintained by composition dealer. So records not to be maintained are stock related details, and tax related details are not required to be maintained by composition dealer. That's all, everyone. Trust me, exams are super easy. The only place where students fail is not proper revision and not proper practice. I have supported 50% by going ahead and doing the revision in detail. Go watch the revision 2 to 3 times before the exam and solve question answer. Trust me, the day you start writing question answer, you will go ahead and score an exemption very easily. IDT is a very scoring subject. Pick up your chart book. Start revising 2 to 3 times. You have to minimum go ahead and revise. I hope you have gone ahead and enjoyed the RTP discussion. If you want anything more from me, please comment in the comment section and let me know. I will see if I can go ahead and provide that support also to you guys. So whatever else videos you guys are waiting for, let me know in the comment section. Whatever anything more you want from me, let me know. If time permits, I'll definitely help you with that. All the best, guys. Please also try to do the RTP from the previous attempt, at least for the September and the May 24 attempt. It will definitely help you a lot. Practicing is the key to success. Love you all. Bye, guys.